Sea claims have now been eliminated. Claim flags can no longer be used to steal structure ownership on land, so no structure stealing. You can still steal boats and stuff like that. Claim flags can no longer be merged in other companies. So if you own claim flags and you merge into a company, you lose those claim flags. Now, I'm wondering why this is really a change. I guess you would have to retake the island right away once you merged. But maybe there would still be some type of exploit with taking like entire islands, I guess. There will be a hard limit on the total number of claim flags per company. For example, 20 numbers can be adjusted. Now, so this basically says claim flags are now only one per island. You own the entire island. They're saying, for example, 20. I'm betting this is not even close to a number they're set on. I'm betting they're not set at all on a number. They might set it at 20 for the PTR a week before the update comes out and just see how players think about that. But I would assume it's going to be a bit lower than that as the official one. The claim flag can not be placed without a tax bank. So this is kind of how I take this, is they're redoing the tax bank as well. So you have to place a tax bank on the island to be able to claim it. And basically why that is because since anyone can build there as well without you being able to stop them, besides just, I guess, destroying their structures, they will constantly be getting taxed and put into the resource or the tax bank to help with upkeep, which I guess is kind of why they're doing that. So the upkeep is much easier to start off with since you have a tax bank already. It's kind of a weird thing, but it kind of makes sense. Claiming an island will now take a fixed amount of time plus an additional amount per claim flag owned. For example, 1 hour to claim and plus 1 hour per owned claim flags number can be adjusted. So they don't know exactly what that would be. But basically what that's saying is if you own no island, it's 1 hour. If you own one island already, the second island will take 2 hours to claim. I assume that's going to be reduced because say if they had 20 claims, it would take, 18 hours to claim an island if you're that high up. And to claim it for the first time claiming it, that is a ridiculous amount of time. Declaiming will always take a fixed amount of time. For example, 2 hours number can be adjusted. So I assume it's probably going to be right around there, maybe a little bit more. And the thing is, with there being only a 9-hour raid time, unless they token it, that's going to be really hard to actually take an island. Extremely hard. Probably impossible against any company that has players on, a decent amount of time in a day. Claim flag upkeep. Claim flags now have an upkeep cost which is paid from the tax bank. The upkeep cost will be an assortment of resources. The upkeep cost will scale on the side of the island, the total number of claim flags a company has, and how different companies / players are building on the island. So they explained this a little bit in the Twitch stream as well. The upkeep cost will scale for the size of the island, so bigger islands and higher rank islands will increase the upkeep cost. The total number of claim flags a company has will increase the upkeep cost of every island. And then how many different companies / players are building on the island that don't own the island. So how many different groups of people are building on the island that don't own it will reduce the upkeep cost. Is basically how they explained it. They don't really explain it efficiently here, but in the live stream, they did specify that the more companies and players that are building on the island, or separate players that are building on the island that don't own the island, it will reduce that. So that's the big system of why people are going to want other companies building on their islands. The claim flags will have a grace period after a successful claim to allow resources to gather in a tax bank before upkeep is charged. We mixed one. Players can now only place items into a tax bank that go towards upkeep. So I assume it's just going to be like running pretty much all the basic resources are probably going to be for upkeep. They're only able to put those in a tax bank now. Those are, I guess, the only thing that will be taxed. Maybe. Oh, I guess that's placing into it. So I assume the taxing stuff, like if you tax, say, gold from something and that's not in the upkeep, which it might be, who knows, it would still get taxed, but you couldn't place more gold into it. Probably making it so you can't just use these as massive storage containers. Claim flag will have a grace period, so basically once you claim an island, it has a timer until the upkeep actually kicks in. The claim flag will visualize if the upkeep will not be met, so players are able to contribute directly to the tax bank. The tax bank will now stack resources like a ship resource box. So you can see if the upkeep's not going to be met, you can put those resources into the tax bank and they'll stack basically unlimited amounts into one stack. Settlements. Settlement owners, I think I'm going to split this video into two. Settlement owners must set a window of vulnerability, currently set to 9 hours, where the island is raidable. Outside of this window, players, structures, and ships will not take damage from other players. So basically, the owners of the settlement, pretty much the owners of the company, will be able to set a time. It needs to be 9 hours to when they can be raided. I assume this isn't different times. This will be one 9-hour period, and you can actually set what time every day you want this island to be raidable. I'm wondering how much you're able to change this. Maybe not ever, or maybe you know, once every certain amount of time. Because if you could change it just anytime you want, every day, if you're a bigger company, bigger companies will probably just change it every day, unless it's super visible. Like if you look at the island it shows, then that really wouldn't matter. But 9 hours, the rest of the day, you're not able to damage anything on the island, any docked boats on that island, anything. You won't be able to damage anything, any players. So yeah, this will also make doing treasure maps much less dangerous, because you could just come right up to the island and then your ship's not damaged. Your ship can't be damaged or anything like that if it's not during the raid times. And do it without the threat of being killed. There will be a timer on the players before they receive the invulnerability status. Anchored boats or docked boats will follow the same rules if they are in the radius of a settlement. So basically, if you're in a radius docked basically on the shores of islands, your ships are now immune. Non-settlement players who have cannons on ships and are anchored shall not be allowed to fire cannons outside of wartime. So basically, if you're not an owner of the island and your ship is docked on the island, you can't fire the cannons until you go more in open water. Settlement owners can freely damage other characters and structures on their island. I'm going to read the rest of this before I go into that. Settlement owners can set tax rates on their island, which will automatically be deposited into the tax bank. Structures that are built on the settlement, which do not belong to the settlement owner, will have a decay timer. Player-run shops, which are placed on islands, can also be attacked by settlement owners. So, settlement owners can freely damage other players' structures on the island. So this is basically, if you own the island and are part of the company that owns the island, you can damage other companies and other players' stuff on the island anytime you want. So basically, if you don't want someone to actually build on your island, you can kick them off, since anybody can build there. But if they're building up, like say if they're building up and you don't want someone building there, the people really aren't going to be able to set up pre-raids, because if it's not in that 9-hour time, you can damage their structures and stuff, can't damage them, and they can't damage you. So basically, you can just destroy anyone's stuff without being able to be hurt or anything at all, if it's not in that 9-hour window. So people that are trying to raid you can't pre-set up if you're, you know, diligent and actually keep an eye on your island. Then player-run shops can be taxed. I'm wondering if this is taxing. So how the shops are going to work, you put resources in them, you set a gold amount, then people can buy them for that gold. I'm wondering if you can tax the resources. So say you get a percentage of the resources. If you can tax the gold, if you can tax both, or just one or the other. I assume it's probably just going to be gold. So you just tax a percentage of the gold. Declaring war. Players can purchase a war token, significant cost, so it's going to be really expensive, which can be purchased to declare war on an island. When a war is declared on an island, players must select a scheduled time in the future, 3 days to 1 week. Only one war can be scheduled at once. There is a cooldown after a war is ended before another war could be declared on that island. Declaring war is per island, so it's possible to declare war against multiple islands at the same time. The UI will indicate whether an island has experienced wartime soon or is currently in wartime. Wars will last a fixed period of time. When an island has been deemed warlike, building rules no longer apply. After the war has ended, the normal rules are enacted again. So you can war on an island. You can choose a time 3 days to a week. So they'll have at minimum 3 days to build up defenses. So you can choose a period in that time. Everyone will know when it's going to happen. Only one war can be scheduled at once on that island. So multiple people can't war you. Or I guess waste tokens trying to double war you or something. There's a cooldown after a war is ended before another war can be declared on the island. I'm assuming that's probably 3 days to a week as well. Declaring war is per island, so it's possible to declare war multiple times at the same island. Or on multiple islands at the same time. So basically, if you want to declare war on 4 islands at a time, you technically could do that. The UI will indicate whether an island is experiencing wartime. So the UI will tell you when it's in wartime on all the islands. Wars at a fixed period of time. They talked about this. They said like 12 or 24 hours. They're definitely not set on that yet. And there's you can build whatever you want when it's wartime. And anybody can build whatever they want. Settlement build rules. Only the owner of a settlement will be able to build offensive structures of mortar, cannons, and swivels on their island outside of wartime. Other companies can build defensive structures, puckles at any time. So other companies can build puckles whenever they want on the island for defenses, basically. This is a little weird because people will be able to be shot. Like, say if you want people that aren't in your alliance to build on your island, you could get shot by those puckles when it becomes like the raid time, which is a bit weird. Other companies can build offensive structures only during wartime. Outside of wartime, these structures are non-functional. So they're unusable. So basically, if it's during wartime and you have a bunch of companies building your island helping to defend, they can still build mortars, cannons, all that type of stuff. But once the wartime is over, those go inactive and they can't build anymore. But they can still build up stuff when it's like wartime. If they're like trying to set up for defenses and stuff for next time, they can build those up and they'll be inactive till the next wartime. Notification setting. Players can sign up for email notifications related to company log activity. Company logs that have any physical in-world location shall now include the grid and GPS. A boat was sunk on K5 at 50/50. Discord webhook for the in-game company notifications. The email ones are a bit weird unless you have email notifications on your phone or something. But there is a Discord one, so that'll be basically used for that. All the servers will continue to operate like normal. No islands on these servers can be claimed. Reduced structure placement rules. Damage decay added on over time on all structures. So basically, you can build as close to anybody as you want, anything like that. But there's damage decay over time on all structures in Lawless Islands. So it's not what now you have on Lawless Islands is if anybody from that company goes in a certain area of those buildings, their decay timer gets reset and they don't take damage. But when this gets added, they're not going to have that. Well, they might still have that to where if no one's there for a while, it just gets destroyed. But I assume it'll just decay in that amount of time, so probably not. But basically, no matter if you're there or not, your buildings will be decaying and taking damage over time that you'll have to repair or it'll get destroyed. PvE. No claim flags, damage decay, over time added to all structures, basically the same as lawless servers. But with PvE, a new auto repair structure, which players will need to upkeep to prevent structures from being destroyed by decay. Now, this is the reason that foundation and pillar spamming is not going to be near as big of a problem, because all that stuff will be taking damage over time. There's a auto repair structure that does it, but I'm almost guaranteed that this will be in an area because there's tons of mods built in Ark that way. They've never had anything that's like connecting things. So it'll most likely be a radius for an auto repair structure that they have to keep resources in. So if someone want to foundation spam everywhere, they would have to foundation spam. They would have to do auto repair structures everywhere. They'd have to keep resources in all of those auto repair structures to keep everything up from decaying. So unless someone wants to do this on their island and spend a lot of time doing that, it's not at all viable. So world redesign. The milestones will introduce some world changes to Atlas itself. The overall objective from these changes is to provide players with more land to use for their bases, as well as general updates for our current biomes and introducing new areas to explore. Over 200 islands added to the network, approximately 1 island per grid. So that's, if they're doing 1 per grid, it's 255. New vehicle, submarine. We've already gone over this stuff. This just kind of shows a bunch of screenshots and basically, yeah, just basically screenshots and explanations for a ton of this stuff. But do the Orbit stuff, they went over all of this. Rest of the notes. New feature, player shop in Freeports. We already read that. Balance changes. The higher quality shipyard used when building a ship, the more level up the ship will be able to obtain. That is a pretty big change. So basically, say if you, I actually am going to test this for sure, because I want to see how many levels you'll be able to get. Say if you have a ship, I think the levels are going to be increased to like 51, but say like right now it's 41 highest level, I'm pretty sure, for a ship. Say if you build a mythical shipyard or something like that, maybe it'll be like 100 levels. We don't know exactly how much because mythical is the highest, but the higher level shipyard, so higher quality ones, increases the max levels a ship can get. Ships can now level up their total damage output, which affects all cannons on a ship, and their total resistance as new upgradable stats. That's pretty massive as well. So you can increase damage and just resistance, which is massive. This is going to make actual higher tier ships like much better. So people, it'll actually give reasons for people to do the higher shipyards, to get higher ships, because then you can have just massive tank ships, high damage, fast ships, stuff like that. All tameable creatures will now be breedable, with no exceptions except for mythical creatures. Vitamin rebalance, various spawner adjustments, and fixed across all islands. And then we went over all of this stuff as well in my most recent video before this. So that's pretty much everything for now. They show all the other stuff that are normally showed in Captain's Logs. I'll probably cut this video in 2 because it's pretty long. But subscribe if you want to see more Atlas content. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you think about Atlas as a whole, what you think about all these patch notes, if you think they're going in the right direction for the game. In my opinion, most of these patch notes I've seen have been going in the right direction. Overall, most of the patch notes and updates for this game in general has been pretty good. Besides a few like the stone updates and stuff, which they did revert. Most of them have been pretty decent. It's just kind of the base of the game that it started with was already super broken to begin with. So thanks for watching.